All right, let's talk about this litter box story because it's insane. You know, anti-trans rhetoric is oftentimes incredibly violent. There's a new study that came out, I think, that showed that you know, anti-trans homicides have 4x'd over the last couple of years. Not surprising when you consider that the government, both at the state level and even sometimes at the federal level, is attacking trans people, denying trans existence, trying to criminalize HRT. Now, of course, on top of that, you have funny moments like this one. So Libs of TikTok came out with this fake story last year. And I personally thought Americans are really stupid. But are they that stupid that they would legitimately believe that, you know, there are litter boxes for schools in schools for kids who identify as furries? No way. Turns out Americans are that stupid. Let's take a look at Joe Rogan and what he had to say.
There's kids. Ready for this? My friend, his wife is a school teacher, and she...
Buddy of mine coming in hot, coming in clutch. Joe Rogan, befriender of all, big buddy guy, friend of mine. Get ready for a friend of mine's story.
Works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered.
There was a time and place where we used to make fun of fucking idiots like this. Why is it now that, like, the most unhinged you get, the more unhinged you get, the more believable you are? What happened? This is quite literally an email chain. For all the boomers in the fucking chat, this is like email chain stories that these guys are basically repeating on independent media now. Like, what the fuck? How does an online forum like fucking 4chan and shit get this kind of prominence in mainstream media? God damn it, dude. We are not capable of handling Facebook and social media in general. We are so bad.
The school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Yeah. So this girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. How is this how are people saying this is a real story? I want to fucking kiss myself, okay? I want to kiss myself when I see motherfuckers with this level of prominence, with this level of influence, repeating such fucking stupid, idiotic, completely false bullshit fucking stories. Oh my God.
Like, you're so crazy with what you think an animal is that not only have you said this, but you've conned the school into putting this fucking litter box.
One of the funniest parts about stories like this is when people go, man, it's so unbelievable, but it's true. No, it's not. It's unbelievable because it's not true. I hate this so much because not only do I hate it because, like, it is 100% just like going along with the schools are accommodating the trans people, even though, like, furries are not fucking trans, right? You know, not always. But, like, they're broadly categorizing everything weird or odd as trans. And this is just furthering the narrative that, like, you know, these level of accommodations are happening and it's changing society and it's really fucked up, right? That in and of itself is like terrifying and horrible, and it's happening when a sea of like anti-trans legislation is passing through state legislatures, right? But it's also indicative of a darker reality on top of that, which is that people will believe anything now. As long as it's about your perceived enemies, as long as it's about a group of individuals that you have declared to be like the villain of society, you can get away with saying whatever the fuck you want, no matter how unhinged it is. Like, no one wants to exercise a little bit, just a shred of skepticism when something doesn't smell right, because you've broken your fucking brain to a degree where you legitimately are just like, nah, it's probably true, because that's how crazy trans people are. Like, no, man, trans students don't want that level of accommodation. They just want to exist, okay? They just want to exist without being bullied. They want to exist without being hate crime. They just want to exist. That's it. And that's too much. Joe Rogan's wife exposes litter boxes in schools. Joe Rogan's friend's wife. Oh, they found it. A family member posts this video in the family group chat, super old school Christian family, except the video literally took out a part where she says in its case of shootings at schools, then skips to where The teacher says it isn't normal, making it seem like it was for kids who identify as furries as schools. Now I'm seeing the whole thing, which completely changes the context. I'm sending this video to the chat now and calling out that bullshit. If it made its way to my family's group chat, you know damn well it's making the rounds online too. Wait, it's so crazy. How is Joe Rogan's friend's wife, this famous conspiracy theory that everyone is trading in WhatsApp groups and stuff? That's wild. Let's take a look.
Sure, this is my 4th year. This is new. And it's showing, unfortunately, a need in our society. Today, during professional development, which is usually meant to talk about systems and structures in your school and curriculum, we were given buckets. We were also given first aid kits, toilet paper. We were given kitty litter to put in the buckets. And there is a pop-up tent to pop up around this bucket. These buckets are to use as toilets, because this is a need now for kids that have been on lockdown because of a threat, need to use the bathroom when they're in for 3-4.
Oh my God. It's a school shooting shit bucket. She was talking about school shootings. Bro, America is so fucked that there is a school shooting shit bucket in schools. In their schools have school shooting preparedness first aid kits. And the same people who say school shootings are fucking fake turn around and cut this in a way to make it seem like they're accommodating for fucking furries. This is the most American story I've ever seen. How? I'm losing my fucking mind! Ah!
We were also given a Sharpie, and that is to write the time. If you had to tie a tourniquet on a kid, you'd write the time you did it on their body for paramedics to see how long it's been tied off. This isn't normal.
So they cut all this part out with the school shooting part. They cut all of that part out, and they made it seem like this is not normal. They cut it from like here, the kitty litter, to this is not normal, to make it seem like she's just talking about fucking furry accommodations. I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm losing my fucking mind. Okay, here's Ben Collins. My NBC News colleagues and I spent the last month finding the root of America's hottest, dumbest urban legend. Schools are leaving out litter boxes for kids who identify as furries, despite what Joe Rogan says it's not true, but its origins are grimmer than you'd ever imagine. You have probably heard of dozens of variations of the litter boxes in schools lie. You might have heard it from Rogan, talking to Tulsi Gabbard, from his friend's wife who works at a school, or maybe Lauren Boebert, or maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's everywhere. If you didn't hear about the litter boxes in a school rumor from a GOP politician, you probably heard about your own town. Facebook is filled with these lies, relocalizing the rumor to your town. There are examples of Facebook posts from almost every state in the country. Just heard high school has a litter box in the transgender bathroom for those students who identify as a cat. Also, you're not allowed to talk in class unless you're called upon, but you can bark like a dog or meow like a cat. The world has gone totally nuts, and teachers not only tolerate this, but encourage this insane behavior. So how did this happen? What's the first real instance of people talking about cat litter in schools? Well, here's where it gets dark. NBC News found one example of a school district keeping cat litter on campus. The Jefferson County School District has had classrooms with cat litter since 2017. In case students are locked in a classroom during a fucking school shooting. Jefferson County is where Columbine is located. Cat litter was handed out in Columbine School District for an active shooter situation 5 years ago. Since then, the litter boxes in schools rumor has evolved into a way to mock the LGBTQ youth. It's now being used as a culture war ammo by over 20 GOP politicians nationwide. What's most provocative about this hoax is how it turns on two key wedge issues for conservatives: educational accommodations and gender nonconformity, said Joan Donovan, research director of the Shorenstein Center for Media Politics and Public Policy at Harvard University and co-author of Meme Wars, The Untold Story of the Online Battles Upending Democracy in America. The data shows how the litter boxes in schools rumors that cannot die is mostly due to the incredulity of adults. According to Grafica's Christina Lopez G, kids on TikTok are creating videos mocking adults who believe it, wind up providing fodder for the oblivious Facebook people. Attention school districts, we do not educate felines or canines or any other type of animal. We educate people. Hashtag problem solved. If students are going to identify as something other than human, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They're like, la, 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 I can't hear you. Shut the fuck up. You're still meowing at school. What do you do with these people? Sometimes I want to fucking grab one of these people and shake them until their brain is like hitting the back and forth of the fucking skull, until they just like reorient their brain into understanding that they're fucking mentally ill. It's not the perceived mental illness of trans youths that is the problem here, which is completely made up. It's the mental illness of those who behave this way. This is why I always talk about fucking transphobia being like an unironic mental illness, okay? This level of delusion is not normal. And it's like unsolvable at this point. I feel like this coming out about the kitty litter being for school shootings might be an eye-opening moment for people who spread that lie, though. I'll give it to you from the framework of fucking bullshit cancellation and cancel culture shit, okay? Everybody sees the original tweet. Nobody sees the correction. So no, unfortunately, it's not how that works. Everybody already is so geared to fucking shit on queer teenagers that they already want to believe it because so many stories like this have happened. And there's also so much systemic violence directed towards trans youth that they are already ready to fucking believe it. The environment is ripe for this kind of fucking bullshit. So they jump on it immediately and promote it. They never see the correction. Even if you show them the correction, in many instances, they will deny it. Do you remember when conspiracy theorists thought that at the heat of the fucking pandemic, at the apex, that Wayfair was trafficking children? It was a silly rumor. It was so insane to believe because if you just took a deep breath and thought about it for more than 3.5 seconds, you'd realize like that is the worst way to fucking try and traffic children. It's like in broad daylight in public. That's insane. There would have to be thousands of random people in on the fucking conspiracy, but people still believed in it. I know I said it in a very weird way. Please don't clip that shit out. But people still wanted to believe it. They wanted to believe it. And then they would use missing person reports to justify that, right? They would use missing person reports to say, well, this person was missing. Wayfair is probably trafficking them. And some people came out and said, hey, I'm one of the fucking people that you claim is missing. I was found. I'm not missing. That was many years ago. It was a traumatic experience. And you're forcing me to relive that fucking trauma. And the people, instead of recognizing that they were in the wrong, what did they do? They were so focused on the conspiracy and how it was real. They believed in it at its very core so much that they attacked the people that came out and said, I'm not missing, motherfucker. I was found. They doubled down and started attacking the victim. Do you understand? They harassed the people that came out and said, I'm not missing. This is something that I covered at the time. Why did they do that? What did they say? They said, hey, you're in on it too, aren't you? Or they said, why are you yelling at us? We were worried about your safety. It's like, no, you weren't. You were just worried about believing in the fucking narrative and following the shoestrings. This is how it always works. People want to just fucking double down. So, you know, they furthered this narrative. Here's the reality. We reached out to every school rumored to have a litter box. We found one in a go bucket for a possible mass shooting. The rumor is a way to marginalize the LGBTQ youth. Here is the story. It was a lot of work. I hope you read it. This is the summarization of the story. It's rare that you get a lie that's both colossally dumb and uniquely dangerous for already vulnerable people. It took a whole team of reporters to get through that nonsense. And God knows I hate to spread this man's nonsense, but it's instructive here. If you see a story on the internet and your reaction is like Joe Rogan's, that's crazy, that's bananas, it makes no sense, then maybe, just maybe, it doesn't make sense because it's not real. Yeah, Libs of TikTok posted this again, by the way. So that was awesome. Great. They're basically celebrating their fucking dubs. I cannot understand how such a virulent, hate-ridden propaganda outlet can continue operating in the way that it does on all of our social media platforms. Holy fuck. You might not agree with me on much. You might also not even understand why we should be, understanding of the trans experience and defend trans people. But holy fucking shit, this is such a open and shut case that is perfectly representative of how your own personal hatred or your own personal biases will lead you astray, will lead you into believing in incredibly dumb things that are completely false. And I don't think anyone wants to be a fucking dummy, right? Do you want to be a dummy? Do you want to believe in the wrong things? Do you want to believe in the dumb things that are objectively untrue just because it makes you feel good, because it corresponds to your personal biases? Or do you want to feel a little uncomfortable at first and recognize that this shit is just, it can impact anyone? It's okay, but at least now you know better. I want to wrap this up with, with a quick shout out, like I said, to all the pieces of shit out there who are spreading this kind of misinformation. You're doing a great job, man. Good job. Horrible monsters, dude. Horrible fucking monsters.